welcome to Kickback with Chris, Martial Arts Podcast. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world right now, and welcome to another episode. So today we are going to be talking with the martial arts action star, actor, producer, martial artist, man of many hats, Mr. Mark Strange later on. But before then, as always, I just want to have a quick chat about things that have been going on, news updates, and of course our weekly talking point. So starting with, we had some news in from Mr. Steve King with regards to an event that he's got going on very soon. Now, you'll have to forgive me if I get this pronunciation wrong. One of the cool things about this podcast is I'm getting to learn about different arts and different things at the same time as telling everybody things that are going on. So this is a Gashanku event. I hope I've got that right. Okay, there's going to be a number of top instructors teaching in this event that Steve's part of. So rather than me butcher the details, I'm actually going to include everything in the show notes. Steve is actually a fairly regular contributor in the forums and on my Facebook. So I'm sure if you're connected with me, you should be able to connect with him and get things arranged if you're interested in going along or taking your students along to that event. Now, actually, annoyingly, this next news article, the news broke. It was pretty much as soon as I'd finished recording the last episode, so I'm nearly a week out of date with this one, and I think it's fair to say most people probably already know, but it's of interest to me. We've already announced, obviously, that Scott Adkins has a role in the upcoming Ip Man 4. But now, just to add to that, the ever awesome Jackie Chan has been announced as having a role, a small role within the film, and a fight scene with Donnie Yen, which I am really, really looking forward to. I hope they've done this one justice. I really do. I actually want to do an episode on focusing on Jackie and his work in the upcoming episodes, but I will try. I'll try and restrain myself from going on too much on this one. But there have been flashes in his recent films of that genius that's always been there with Jackie with his action scenes. My first film that I got into of his was Rumble in the Bronx, and as I've said to a number of friends since then, I've been waiting for another Rumble in the Bronx ever since that. The Foreigner was for me the closest we've had, and by that I mean, if you think about it, if those of you who are fans of Jackie will know that Rumble in the Bronx, the action in that film is very much of sort of a violent, aggressive type. Everything is in reaction to people causing grief for somebody else, or the majority of the time in his films it tends to be like he's running away, sort of more comedy based action, whereas in Rumble in the Bronx, there's one scene in particular where he goes to a gang hideout. Spoilers if you've not seen it, but it doesn't matter anyway, to be fair, and he goes to this gang sort of hideout specifically to fight them, as sort of like a vengeance thing. So I mean, obviously, excuse me, I have no idea what the details are for Ip Man 4, but I would assume that it will be a more, can I use the phrase realistic? I don't know, but it'll be more sort of fight based rather than comedy based. So I am really, really looking forward to that one and what it brings. I'm just hoping it's not going to be a 10-second flurry and over. But anyway, we will see. We'll just have to wait. And some news now for myself, I guess. This is a cool one. A while ago, I did an interview for the martial arts online magazine, Martial Arts Guardian. That's actually due out on June the 30th, so that's this Friday. So you should be able to pick that up now as you're listening to this podcast. Obviously, I'm recording this on it's actually Wednesday. Little inside secret there. But you should be able to go and pick that up now. I will include a link in the show notes for you to go and check that one out. But in that magazine, I talk about my work in the industry, my thoughts on things, a little bit like the talking point section that I do on this podcast. But obviously, in text format. So yeah, you can go check that out. I talk about my previous film work and my teaching, my thoughts on the industry, that sort of thing. Loads of cool pictures in there as well. So yeah, go and check that out. There's also included in the same issue a write-up and review of the Kazan event. So definitely worth checking that one out. So yeah, it's out Friday, June 30th. It's issue 16. I'm on the front cover as well, which is really cool. It's my first... Now, I've had photos on the front of magazines before, but I've not been like the main image. So that's a really cool one for me, personally, to finally to get myself on the front cover. I said, well, fine. It's not like I've been waiting, but it is still cool. You know what I mean? So this week's talking point. Now, this one is one I've discussed on Facebook a number of times, and what I've done over the months is create like a little list of things that I want to go through, discuss, because it's interesting that we have these talking points, and then what's really nice is I get messages from people on Facebook and emails and stuff, giving people's feedback and thoughts on the topics that I discuss, and that is exactly what I wanted to happen and what I wanted to get going on. So this one is going to be a very subjective one, and I'm hoping it does promote a lot of discussion, both for and against, because that's the whole point of discussing stuff. Excuse me, you'll have to forgive me this cough. I've got anybody out there who has hay fever will know what I mean. One of my things at the minute is coughing. It's just anyway. So if I cough, I'll stop apologising for it. There, a little deal with you. So yes, back to the topic. This week I want to discuss I'm going to sort of pigeonhole this, maybe sort of group it into one thing, sort of performance martial arts, shall we say. So by that I mean everything from, say, musical forms to just practicing more acrobatic type techniques. Now, most of you will know that is something that I've been interested in since... well, forever, basically, since I started out in training, and something that I'm incredibly passionate about. Unfortunately, however, there are two things that I don't like that go on frequently around performance-based martial arts. The first, and this is probably one that you might find surprising, is people that actually sell it as being like pure martial arts, and they sort of use it to promote their schools in the sense of, look, this is martial arts. And then on the flip side, what I don't like is people that, well, they're just really, really negative towards people doing anything that involves coming like more than 30 centimeters off the ground, probably even less than that, 3 centimeters off the ground. You know, people that really, really get at people for training in performance martial arts. So back to the first one. I do see a lot, and again, this is just my thoughts. You might not agree, which is fine. But I've started seeing a lot of this sort of, I can't even really call it performance martial arts. It's basically just rooms full of kids waving their arms around and screaming with no sort of, it doesn't seem to be any sort of technique to it at all. It's just essentially waving around, shaking and wobbling their limbs about and screaming. Now, I kind of get the whole sort of positive image, trying to build up confidence. I get that, and that's a good thing. But if you're gonna try and tie those things into martial arts training, even if you're going to do it as sort of like a performance martial arts thing, then there's got to be some level of technique there. And what I've started seeing this thing of, you know, basically it's like kids and adults as well. They're sort of doing this stuff, like moving around really fast, screaming a lot, and then shouting loads of stuff about yes I can and yes I will and I am great and all this, and then everybody high fives each other, and it's very well, it's not my cup of tea really, I suppose. If you're into it, fine. I just think it's making it harder for people that have a genuine sort of interest in performance martial arts and with actual elements of martial technique in there. It's making it really hard for us because people are starting to see this more and latch onto it, and with Facebook and sharing media and these awful groups that pop up constantly. Well, I think they're awful. You might like them. Basically, with no other agenda other than to trying to use non-naughty phrases here, just to take the mick out of people. And I'm not overly keen on those sort of closed groups where it's just like a witch hunt type thing. But yeah, it's making it really hard to sort of positively promote them. But anyway, that's my thought on it. On the other side, though, on the completely other side, like I like to practice your 180s, the old school name, like tornado kicks and split kicks and jump 360 kicks and all that sort of thing. And look, I know that their practicality, for the most part, although you do see those rare cases, you've got your Michael Pages and people like that who do they land these techniques, but I know for the most part that they're just fun. They're just good. They're good fun. And the thing with it is you generally speaking, and I'm probably going to get some hate for this, but generally speaking, the people that talk down of people that practice more sort of acrobatic based techniques are people that, well, they can't do it, so they'll have a go at other people that can do it to sort of make them feel good for the fact they can't do it. Now, it's not always the case, but you do tend to see that a lot. What I found personally is, if I am trying to perfect, or back when I used to try and perfect a technique that, for example, has a setup with 3 rotations before the kick itself, my single rotation kick was ridiculously quick and accurate, and that's not an exaggerating or an ego thing. It's fact. If you're trying to land a kick with 3 rotations on it in the air before kicking, or 2, let's say, if you're trying to do that, then your single rotation kick is going to be really quick, really strong. And look, the thing with it is, as well, is as long as you're not selling it as being a practical art, what harm is it doing? Really, realistically, I'm coming up 40 now, and I like to think I'm still in reasonably good shape. Able to do the majority of the things that I was doing, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. So, for me, it's a positive training tool to enable me to do my sort of traditional. My background is ITF Taekwondo and kickboxing. Practicing the more acrobatic stuff keeps me in apart from an injury myself, of course, but it keeps me in decent shape to allow me to still be able to do the other stuff. And look, it's just good fun. And instructors out there that I've spoken to on this before, I don't make any claims for it to be anything other than good fun. It's the ones out there that claim that it's something it's not that are the issue, and I can kind of understand people maybe having a dig at those people, but hey, for the love of martial arts at the end of the day, so that's all good. So moving on to our interview with the awesome Mr. Mark Strange. Although I will cover this and discuss this with him in the interview, I've had the opportunity to work with Mark a number of times over the years. I'm going to have to try and work out how many years. But yeah, phenomenal martial artist, a really nice guy, and somebody who I've not spoken to for a while. So this podcast has actually offered a good opportunity for me to have a catch up with a friend that I've not spoken to for a long time. So I hope you enjoy. But before the interview, if we just take 30 seconds out to check out this quick advert. Thank you.
You're listening to Kick Back with Chris, the martial arts podcast, brought to you by www.onlinekicking.co.uk.
Okay, so joining me on the line now, we have the ever awesome Mr. Mark Strange. How are you doing, Mark?
I'm all well there, Chris. How are you?
I'm good. I'm all the better now for turning off Facebook. Take two without the Facebook bleep in the background. Ever the professional as always. But no, thank you, sir, for joining us, because I know you're a super busy man at the moment with lots going on, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. But
sounds great, buddy.
To start with, what would be really cool is I always like to do this when we have guests on with a martial arts background. It's just go right back to the start and when you first started out and why. What got you into martial arts?
Well, I kind of started martial arts officially when I was 10 years old. It was actually the movies that influenced me to want to start training and taking up martial arts. And, I was a big fan of Jackie Chan back in the day, and massive fan of Sylvester Stallone, and still am of them guys. Very, very, very talented in many, many ways. And them guys, suppose, inspired me back in the day when I was little to think, right, I want to be able to do that. I want to do what they do. So I found a martial arts club. I originally started with Lao Gar, Kung Fu, and then I went on to do all sorts from there, Chris. It's kind of it's took me to China to train with the Shaolin monks, and trained with Sifu Derek Frierson, and he took me all over the place, and he was a great teacher, and he still is my teacher as well. So it's just that even though we haven't trained together for a while, I will be in touch at some point with Derek and continue my studies in different Chinese martial arts.
Yeah, it's obviously from what I know through working with you and from seeing your the training that you share on Facebook, you do like to keep in shape. You work hard. I can see that from the post you put on there.
I appreciate that, man.
And how do you stay motivated? What keeps pushing you to keep pushing yourself to that level?
It's a funny one, really, because when I first started, and back in the old days, when I first achieved my black belt, I was just a little whippersnapper then. I was like really, really I was quite thin, and then obviously at that point of time, I was competing as a fighter. I was competing on the circuits as in forms and weapons, and I did pretty well obviously in the tournament scene back in the day, and I had lots and lots of great adventures with tournaments like the MAI, Bob Sykes's tournament. Used to do all them, and at the time I was teaching as well, so I'd take my students to compete, and it was, back then it was totally different. And what transformed me was the jump into doing films and TV, and it was what I always wanted to do when I first started. It was that kind of encouraged me to take up martial arts, so obviously for film and TV, I wanted to, I saw all these icons and inspired me to, at that point in time to think, right, I'm my martial arts can always develop and always better. There's always something new and cool to learn and perfect. But then I thought to myself, right, I want to put some muscle on. So I want to go for the action hero type look. So maintain the flexibility, maintain good fitness levels, and get a physique that I'm never happy, Chris, actually. With whatever physique I get, I've always think I could do better, and I think that's one way of moving forward as a in anything that you actually do is kind of aspire to be better, and push yourself harder, and it is a really, really kind of and this particular industry is that one. I'd say one of the hardest things is motivation and staying focused and being ready. And when you're trying to keep a physique, all these temptations that are around you, food and all this type of stuff. I was speaking to Mike Fury about a month ago, and I said, I'm dieting again, you know what I mean, to get in shape for some like a photo shoot that I was doing at the time. And he said, how do you do it? Because it's kind of like, there's all these temptations around you, and it is purely discipline. And I took that from the martial arts training, and I just threw it into the kind of the physical side and the performing side as an actor as well. It is the same discipline. It's just you've got to slightly tweak it a little bit because it's a different activity in a sense. But it the three keys, my friend, always, whether you're a martial artist, whether you're an actor, whether you're kind of like a bodybuilder, saying you compete, all them three I've tried to fuse together as a performer, and the three key words is discipline, dedication, and just being hungry to want and succeed and do well, and all them kind of, I probably said too many there, but I think I said three.
They're all relevant.
But they're all relevant, and you kind of get the idea.
Absolutely.
The fact is, when you go out there and you compete, competing, what competing did for me, because I was quite shy as a young kid, and competing built my confidence, and win or lose, you gain the experience from it, and it give you that determination to succeed and then eventually win. And that's pretty much what you've got to do in the film industry. You're just switching it. You just, it's exactly the same. You've got to have exactly the same attributes as a fighter, in a sense, or anyone who's wanting to, go far in any industry, and so it's icons that keep me focused and get me up in the morning, get me to the gym, get me focused. And the final thing I want to say, Chris, is always have a goal, and then that way you stay focused and move forward, and when you've achieved that goal, then you set another goal, and that's the way to keep focused and stay ready, because you never know what tomorrow is going to bring.
Fantastic. What an inspiring way to start the interview. I love that. That's brilliant.
Oh, no problem, man.
Well, on the same sort of vein, actually, and similar vein, should I say, you, like me, you clearly, you like your kicking. I love kicking stuff. Yeah, I just like kicking, man, in general. I just wondered who inspired you? Did you look up to certain people and go, that's, or was it like a variety of different people? Because for me, it was my instructor. And then I'd watch movies, obviously like Jean-Claude Van Damme, people like that, and you go, "Oh, that's what I want to do." Was it anybody like that as well?
Yeah, for sure, man. So many kind of people. I'd say, obviously, because the movies actually got me into wanting to go out and find a club to start learning martial arts. It was, I'd say at the time, it was Mr. Chan, it was Jackie.
Yeah.
I watched Jackie, and I saw all the very inventive ways back in the day that he'd do and kick people on screen, and I was thinking, wow, I want to learn that kick, I want to do this, and I want to, and Jackie's just, again, he can pretty much use every part of his body to make a weapon with, and I love the creativity of that, but no, it was I'd say it was Jackie Chan, and I was thinking, and then I started a club, and I started training with an instructor called Steve Cavana. When I first started training Laugar, and he was an exceptional kicker. He was so flexible. I was like, oh man, I've got to get the splits. I've got to sort of, I have to kind of have and better what he does, kind of thing. And he was such an amazing teacher. He pushed me to the limit within the first four years I trained with him, he developed my flexibility. It was an inspiration that I wanted to be able to kick like him, that's what, you know. For you have to have that role model, and when you're first starting out in martial arts, every instructor is, you know, that is the face. That is what when a student first walks through the door, you know, it's that great etiquette that he had. You know, and you want to look at your instructor and think, wow, I'd love to be able to throw a kick like that, and to make you want to succeed and kind of learn how to do it, and you know, and then obviously, you know, practice makes perfect.
Oh yes, for sure.
It's
Interesting that you say Jackie Chan, because I've always felt the same. He's, as somebody, everybody identifies with him as obviously they see him as this awesome martial artist, but for me, I always appreciated and respected him for his kicking ability as well. And I've had that discussion with people in the past, and they've seemed surprised. And then when I've actually given them the examples, they've gone, actually, yeah, that guy could kick. He was he was a phenomenal kicker, but it's just because he was so good at everything.
I think, yeah, exactly. That's the thing. People don't see the kicks because he's just an amazing all-rounder, you know. And you know, obviously, with Jackie, you're getting the stunts, his own stunts. You're getting, you know, amazing action, and so the kind of kicks get a little bit lost. But for someone who wants to kick, he was, for me, he was definitely an inspiration.
Fantastic.
No, there was a really what was it? The movie. Have you ever seen the movie Miracles?
Yes. I'm right now. Just so you know, I'm in my office at work, and literally the entire wall is full of films. If there's a Jackie Chan film in existence, or not in existence, in some of the cases, it's on my wall.
Fantastic. Well, one kick combination stood out on that, and it was like in this like bar type area, and it's a bit where he's kind of challenging this guy, and he does an arm wrestle and all this type of stuff, and he does like some crazy kick combination. I think it's I know it ends in a sweep, and he sweeps him, kind of thing. It's like a combo that he does, and it's so darn quick, and it's just motionless. And when I saw that, I thought, not only do I want to be able to, you know, kick and you know, throw a perfect kick, I want to be fast with it as well, for my size as well. That is one of my biggest challenges of recent, with putting size on, because I'm currently 16 stone. Okay. So to be able to keep that speed and that you know, sort of agility is really tough. It's getting that right combination, because I did go up to 18 stone at one point. That was probably about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, somewhere around there. But I felt sluggish, so I just dropped the weight really, really quick, because I didn't like how I felt. My kicks felt heavy and powerful, but they lost that speed and that grace that I've always inspired to have. But you know, Van Damme as well. I obviously grew up with him as well. So, and you know, he was Mr. Kicker, wasn't he? So he was, So no, kicking is a thing of beauty, and definitely on camera. So you perfect a beautiful kick, get a beautiful stunt guy to fall from it. It's just poetry, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
it was a right leg 540, left leg outside crescent kick to sweep. That was a combination.
That's the combination. Yeah.
I'm a kicking geek, dude.
Exactly. Well, you could, and am I right? You could counter 1, 2, and he's done it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
it's
not
just
only
so
that,
fast.
I think a lot of people don't appreciate as well is that you know, a lot of kids, I say kids, sort of, you know, teenagers, early 20s, like I was when I was doing this stuff originally. You know, you do it. It's one thing doing it in a massive gym in your gi and bare feet, but Jackie was on location, in wardrobe, obviously shoes and everything, under lights, and there was probably multiple takes. You know, and
Yes.
and you have to just be able to, you know, I don't know. I mean, I don't know the schedule for that shoot, but it could well have, and it most likely was a night shoot, possibly. You know, so
Yep.
they were probably tired. They'd probably been shooting for maybe 12 hours. You know,
Yep.
and you've still got to be able to do that stuff on point immediately.
Definitely. And people who don't know very much about movies and how they're made, they don't see that. They probably just think, oh, he's come in, he's fresh, and he's just kind of like busted out that kick combination.
Yeah.
You know, not knowing that there's probably like a 14-hour day behind that, longer. So, and like you say, like lots and lots of takes of doing the same thing, you know, and after a full day of filming, you know, to be honest, Chris, when I used to compete, I found when I did the transition to doing films, I found it's a lot tougher.
Yes.
Doing movies, it's just keeping that energy level throughout the day when you're shooting, and definitely when you're shooting action scenes of a large scale. You know, that's why it's good to have an all-round kind of ability, in a sense that you know, you've got your fitness, you've got your flexibility, you've got your kind of, you know, the whole package in a sense, because you need it, and a lot of people don't realise that.
Yeah, so in actually on the subject of Jackie Chan, in I believe it was, now this is going from geek memory again, it was 2003, we had the Medallion and Twins Effect were released. Which way round
Yes.
did you work on those then? Was it, which one?
Well, it was kind of like it was really, you know, the story behind that. I flew out to Hong Kong. It was it wasn't my first visit to Hong Kong. I trained with my teacher out there back in 2000. And I went all around China doing Wing Chun and studying with all these masters, praying mantis, and
Wow.
it was an amazing experience. And obviously got to train with the monks in Henan province in China,
Wow,
visit the Shaolin Temple. That was my first ever time I flew, and I flew to the old Hong Kong airport, which was just
Jesus,
mental.
it's scary.
It was crazy. Very scary.
You're flying through people's living rooms.
Exactly. So, but no, the opportunity I got, I flew out there, obviously, and I landed, and you know, the first gig I was supposed to do was Twins Effect,
Right.
but when I got there 2 days in, it got moved, the schedule. So I was there in Hong Kong, and it was kind of like moved. I think it was something like a month or so later. So anyway, I hung around a bit, and then I got the opportunity to do work on the Medallion, which was fantastic, because it just kind of you know, I only worked one solid day on the Medallion, and but I got some nice screen time with Jackie, and it was amazing working with him. And you know, when I remember the first time I saw him, and I was thinking, I was watching him on a camera, and then he was just there in front of us. It was just weird.
Yeah.
So it was like, you know, this icon that you've grown up with is literally right in front of you. And then the crazy part was, when I come to shoot, I was so tense, kind of thing. You know, the director was like massaging my shoulders, kind of thing. Yeah, so I was like thinking, oh my God, in one moment's time, I'm going to be shooting, attacking Jackie Chan. And it was just, and then I just thought, right, professional head, boom, switch off, do it. So, and that's, you know, I learned so much from that experience, and the whole time I was in Hong Kong, you know, obviously the Medallion, I went on to do Twins Effect, and I shot I think it was like a week on that. It was night shoots. It was through the night.
Yeah.
It was, so your body clock had just got used to Hong Kong, and then you switched it around again.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, it's horrible, isn't it?
It's crazy.
So I did a week on that, and that was brilliant, obviously, because I got to meet Donnie Yen, and obviously what an amazing performer he is, and is of recent is seems to have cracked Hollywood as well, hasn't he? So, which well deserved, because he's been on the scene a long time, hasn't he? And he's done some amazing movies. Yeah, it's, you know, and so Twins Effect happened. I shot that, and that was literally I think 2 nights on a motorbike as a vampire, and then I did a whole sequence where I get run over by Jackie Chan. That was a lot of fun. So a lot painful as well. Yeah.
Interestingly, I've had this conversation with some other people as well. It's a really weird one. My first experience working out on the Hong Kong shoot was I was a vampire as well. You know,
I know we've got something in common.
Synchronicities, isn't it? Like
we've got two things in common. Yeah, the vampires.
Yeah, but no, I completely understand where you're coming from with Jackie. I've not had the opportunity. I'll say yet. You will never know. You always leave these possibilities open.
Leave it open, mate.
Yeah,
Remember what I said back before. You never know what's going to happen from day to day.
But I work with one of his charity. I do a lot of work to sort of promote them and help them. And I got really was lucky to be able to go along to a premiere when he was over here for oh god, what was it? Chinese Zodiac. And
cool.
When he walked into the room. Well, he didn't walk into the room. He literally sprinted and bounced up the stairs, you know, and you know what he's like. And I just, it was like, it just like gives off energy. It's just like
it's crazy.
This aura around him of just he's like a I don't know, like a firework, like a battery, just sending off energy. So and that was just me stood in the room next to him. So I can't imagine what it was like to then have to throw a technique at him.
yeah, it was kind of crazy. Yeah, it was just so. I remember the first time I did it, I literally chucked myself into the wall. He just froze me into a wall. Yeah, and it's front on as well, face first kind of thing. It was a solid wall. It was in a sewer in Hong Kong.
Oh yes, I remember the scene.
The most glamorous location, you know, and anyway, proper cracked my chin on the wall at the first take. I thought, right, I'm going to go for it. You know, you're working with the best guy in the industry here, so just do it. You know.
Oh no.
That's what I put in my mind. But forget about that. You know, if that happens, it'll recover. You know.
Did was that the take that was used? Do you know?
I think it was. Yeah, I think
I think
it was. So it's worth doing it.
Yeah. Do you have a you have a handgun, don't you, or a rifle or something? Is that the scene?
I have a pistol kind of thing, and he takes the pistol out of my hand and bungs in the wall, and then kicks my shadow's ass.
Yes.
That's it. Yeah. So
amazing.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
So I mean, what a lot of people probably don't fully appreciate or understand as well as being an actor and obviously as a martial arts performer and an actor in your own right, you've also done a lot of producing as well. I just wondered if you'd like to share that experience, what it's like, just to give people an idea of what you go through on a day-to-day basis as a producer.
Oh man, yeah. Well, producing is like a war. Definitely, if you're doing it on an independent level, it's because I'm the kind of person that likes to make things look big, and I want to make a statement that it is an independent film. It's low budget, but check this out. We want to try and achieve something that looks like Hollywood on screen, and to achieve that, you've got to be very creative, in the way of making that happen, and just getting people on side and inspiring people and getting people excited. They're the key words to work as a producer, in the sense of making people. It's just getting people on side and getting them excited, and that's pretty much what I've been doing. For how many films have I produced now? I produced Displaced, which got released in America, Japan, and it did pretty well for a first movie that I made, which took 7 years, man, to do that. It was a lot of dedication, hard work, and stuff that went into that. And then obviously I moved on to do 12 and Bodyguard with the director Chi Kyung Chung, and they kind of stepped up a level each one, and obviously 12 was just a pure bare knuckle fight film, and it was, that collaborated a lot of people out there now that are doing amazingly well, like Liang. Liang, obviously, assistant fight coordinator, I think I last heard on Star Wars, and his Liang's ability is incredible. And we that was, by my knowledge, I think that was Liang's first film.
Oh wow!
Was 12. And then people like Andy Lister, who's double people like Captain America and 007.
Wow.
Daniel Craig, and and then obviously Joey Anza as well. Joey and Zara. Yeah. I'll name them all here. So, but no, they've all gone on to do really great stuff, and that was really, really nice to see. Because they're such lovely people, and and very, very talented people, individuals as well. So, and it was like one big family on that film. We all just got stuck in, and did our best on the budget that we had, and developed that. And then obviously Bodyguard, that was straight after 12, and Kari Tagawa, Richard Ng, and we had some amazing talent on that film. And it was, I played a smaller part in that. Just an assassin brother. So that's the kind of 3 movies that I produced, and it is a tough thing to do, and you always try and make the next one better, so
Absolutely.
you're always on about moving forward and trying to make it as big as you can, and that's what I've always tried to do as a producer. The thing is with it, to be totally honest, now is, I've done 4 now, and really, at this point in my life now, I'm moving now as pushing the acting, pushing the fight, obviously pushing the screen fighting side of things, and the fight coordination, fight arranging things as well. So they're the 3 aspects that I'm pushing from now on in the future, and I'm looking forward to what the future holds.
Brilliant.
So there's a lot of exciting things.
With regards to what you were saying about trying to bring that sort of big feel to the productions, I mean, I can speak from experience of working on 3 of those that you mentioned, and I remember going back to Displaced. I remember it's one of the opening shots, or one of the opening sequences. There's is it sort of like it was like some sort of satellite facility. I remember it was like there's a huge, pretty big building, and there's like a crane shot coming down, and all the people coming in, because they're trying to find you, aren't they? That's the scene. It's the trying to find Radius.
That's right,
And so I've got good memory for this stuff. And I remember thinking, wow, this looks big. I mean, and you even managed to get the voiceover from Sir Ian McKellen as well, which was
that was amazing, and what a lovely, lovely chap he is. It was my first film, and just literally, it was just pure persistence, and he was so impressed that he said, anyone who's spent 7 years on making one movie, I want to help them. So because he knows obviously what it takes and the commitment it takes, and I think he was just overwhelmed with my enthusiasm in the sense to get it finished and make it, and because we originally asked him, and he was doing Lord of the Rings at that time. He was just out for years on that thing. So but it was good timing. I contacted him, he rang me up, and away you go. I got him, and he did it totally for free, just to support British films. So, which was
not many producers can say they've achieved that, mate. You got that.
No, exactly, man. It was a good time and opened many doors.
Yeah.
So,
I remember on 12. There was a scene. I worked in a scene. There must have easily been 100 people. There was just fighting everywhere. And then on Bodyguard, I got to have a little one-on-one with you. I remember you were jumping off the
Yeah, it
ledge
was
of a
fun,
wall
wasn't
and
it?
giving me a kick in the face. And I remember in that scene,
And great reaction, Chris, by the way. Great reaction.
I threw
Yeah.
myself at the floor many times that day. There was, I remember there was monster trucks, big. Because I remember having my photograph with one of them. I was like, "Wow, there's this huge monster truck." It was cool. So
Yeah,
you
it was
definitely brought that that big sort of Hollywood, if I dare say, sort of feel to things, which
Yeah.
it worked. I think personally.
No, for sure, man. Like back in the day, you do whatever you can to like when you're writing scripts and when there's a script in front of you and you think, how the hell am I going to achieve that?
You beg, borrow, and fall just short of steel.
You pretty much, yeah. You've just got, to get people on side, you've just literally got to kind of, get them excited really and about the whole thing. And everyone loves being involved with films. It is a very exciting industry, So that's I've been very, very lucky to have a lot of great support and know a lot of great friends and colleagues and people around us really. So, and that really, really helps.
So, if I'm right, I've got this on my show notes. You've also had experience of working on television soaps as well.
I do, yeah. I currently work on a soap. I'm the fight arranger for it. So I literally train the actors and make sure they're safe.
Wow.
And make it look as realistic as possible for the director. And I've worked on quite a few different soaps as well. So I love it. It's a great experience. All actors want to do a little bit of a fight every now and then. So when they love it and they're up for it. So it's great getting a great performance out of them as well.
I've just got an image in my head now of all these different soap stars from different across the spectrum, all sort of busting out the best Jackie Chan moves and stuff. And
exactly.
It must be difficult at times. I mean, I've had a little bit of experience with TV stuff, not as much as yourself, but I remember I did one TV show with kids, and it was, oh my days, they were just, no, don't do that, put the chair down, no, don't hit, no, they just get so overly enthusiastic, and then the next minute, one of them's got a gash above their head, and you're just like, oh, it must be. Because I think a lot of people, what they see on TV and films, they get very excited by it, but then they don't necessarily realise that a fake, I'm using air quotes, you can't see my fingers, but even a fake kick becomes a very real kick when it connects.
Yeah, for sure, man.
And a lot of people don't always appreciate that. So, wow, that must be an experience.
Yeah, it's great. I really enjoy it because it takes me back to when I was a martial arts teacher. Because in a sense, I am coach. Yeah. I am coaching them as well as sometimes helping out on the camera angles to sell it better for certain angles and stuff. So it is really, really great fun and again, it's a creative thing as well. I love acting and I love performing because it's very creative, but that is exactly the same but behind camera. It's just getting the best out of an actor and making him look good on screen, but keeping him safe at the same time.
Absolutely. Okay, so I believe you've also worked on an Indian production as well. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, that was an amazing experience. It was just to see how they shoot and everything. It was kind of it was amazing because they were so on it, and the crew was huge as well.
Yeah.
The equipment they had as well, they had cranes and like jibs and steady cams, and they had the whole drone thing going on, and
wow.
It was a massive production, and which I got casted as the main villain.
Wow.
I played a very frightening name, Dr. Steve.
Wow.
Yeah, that was my character, and that was quite a chunky role. There was lots of dialogue, and then there was an end climax type fight sequence with the hero, and the hero is a huge name over in India. He's from Kerala in South India, but he's a nice guy, lovely, really really nice guy to work with, and we shot 14 days in Scotland, in Edinburgh, in a castle, which was really cool, a lovely backdrop, and we then shot. We had to then move to Mumbai in India.
Wow!
So I did like 14. I think it was like maybe about 12 days in India, and then unfortunately they were filming in monsoon season, so the location got flooded. So basically they hadn't killed me off. So basically they said, "Look, we're going to need you to fly back."
Wow.
So anyway, bit of what happened. I went back to the UK, and unfortunately at that time my dad died, which was totally unexpected at the time, and so anyway they said to me, it was actually the day before my dad's funeral. They said, "We need you back tomorrow." And I was like, okay, and I had explained and to them what happened, and so anyway, I knew my dad had want me to complete this film and do well. So I literally went to his funeral, and then I flew straight off to India early hours of the morning. So I got there to do 2 days of action on wires, which I hadn't. It was the first I'd worked wire work in Hong Kong in the sense of being held onto an ambulance, but no fight action. I've not done fight action. It was the first time I'd done fight action with wires, and the stunt team were really, really cool. They were like one of India's best stunt fight coordinating duos. There were twins as well. It was like, wow. I was like, who am I talking to here? Kind of thing, It was like it's really confusing, but no, it was the way they shot their action was really, really slick. And I hope you get to see the film, man. You need literally a day to watch it. That was like 3.5 hours long. Yeah, so it's an absolute epic. But very, very impressed how they handled the action and the way they choreographed it. And the wire team were really good. It left me with a load of bruises, which actually my entire 2 arms were bruised. couldn't see any white skin. Yeah, so Jeez. but no, it was a fantastic experience, and I have a beautiful fan base in India, and they're very, very passionate, the fans over there, and I get many, many messages from them, and they apologise for the ones that I can't kind of contact back. I will always do my best to contact you guys. So, but that was Adam Joan, and it's actually on DVD now.
Okay.
My knowledge worldwide. So
very cool. So, what have we got coming up next? What's going on in the life of Mark Strange at the moment?
Well, I've done a variety of different things, of recent kind of thing, and I've just literally every day is a new day, and the door is open for lots of other projects, and there's lots in development. But I've been working on a film that obviously looking at coming out later in the year, called Redcon 1. It's a zombie war film.
Oh, everyone loves zombies.
They sure do.
Can't go wrong there.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's kind of a project that I've spent a lot of time on, and really, really, really excited for everyone to see it.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that one now. Zombies in action, just the best combination.
It's a great combination. Yeah, no, for sure. And for me as an actor, it's probably the biggest role I've ever taken in a film as well. So, okay. So hope everyone enjoy my performance.
I'm sure they will. Now, where's the best place for people to find out more about yourself and your work? Is there anyone in particular online, or?
Well, I'm kind of the best, Chris. It's all about social media nowadays, isn't it? Everyone seems to kind of. I think websites are all good, but they're kind of like a finger of the past, aren't they? Like everything seems to be based around social media at the moment. But people can find me on Instagram, Twitter, all the usual social media.
Okay.
I think my Facebook is totally full up now, bar my likes page, because I think you only get a 5,000 limit on Facebook, isn't it?
Only.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, what I will do is I'll include in the show notes the links to your official social media accounts, if people want to go along and check out the various things that you've got going on and keep up to date with all your updates.
I appreciate that. It's very kind of you, Chris. Thank you very much.
Not a problem. Well, Mark, thank you very much for your time, because I appreciate you're a very, very busy man, and you've got lots going on. So yeah, thank you again for your time. And
you're very welcome, Chris.
And it's always also
to catch up and speak as well.
Yeah, it's good. I was going to say, this is the first time in years we've been able to have a proper catch up, and who knows, maybe even be able to work together soon again.
That would be lovely, man. Yeah, for sure.
Fantastic. Cool.
You're listening to Kick Back with Chris, the martial arts podcast, brought to you by www.onlinekicking.co.uk.
So I just want to say a big thanks to Mark for his time today in that interview. Fantastic insight into his work. Obviously, the many, many hats that he wears as obviously not only an actor and a martial artist, but as a fight choreographer, a producer, and all these different things that he's done. Having done a little bit of film work myself over the years, my thing has always been very, very much in the sort of performance, sort of screen fighting side of things, with a little bit of choreography here and there as well. And it's hard but rewarding work. But hearing Mark talk about his experiences and all the different things that he's done, all credit to the guy, because producing's a hard gig, really is. So, and again, as I mentioned, it's really nice to catch up with him, which is one of the really, really great things about this podcast. I don't know about you guys out there, everyone's different, but I am terrible for keeping in touch with people. I'm very much one of those day-to-day people. I fill my week 7 days a week with work, and the years just zip by, and then I suddenly realise I've not spoken to so and so for ages, which is one of my things I do need to work on. I'm not very good at keeping in touch with people. So yeah, it was really nice to chat with Mark. Good to hear all the things that he's got going on, and who knows, we might be having him back a little bit later on to discuss a few more things going on, so you'll just have to listen out for that one. Now, a little bit of insider information here. As I have mentioned before previously, I do tend to record these podcasts in little chunks here and there, and then by the magic of editing, bring them all together for one show on a Friday. But obviously, due to my own work with my online courses, my teaching 7 days a week, workshops, film jobs, and all that sort of stuff, I kind of have to fit this in as and when. Beginning of the episode, I spoke about my article and cover page on Martial Arts Guardian being available today, this Friday. I've since recording the opening of the since recording the opening of the podcast. No, I said film there. I found out that there's actually been there's a little bit of a delay. There's I won't say production issue, but just something that's meant that the magazine's got to be delayed for a while. So what I'll do is I'll just say keep an eye out on my social media and on the podcast Facebook group, and as soon as I know what the release date is, I will let you know. What I will say, however, is if you know you're going to want to check out the interview, excuse me, I believe you can pre-order the magazine. The details are in the show notes, so you can go check that out. It's only a very, very small fee to buy the magazine, so go and support what these guys are doing, because without your support, they can't keep the magazine going. Just in the same as with the podcast, thank you all for your efforts in getting the reviews and things on iTunes. So if you're not sure what I'm talking about, I don't know how you can't be, because I've gone on about it enough, but if you could go, if you could take 30 seconds, if you've got iTunes, to go and leave us a star rating and a written review, it super helps. And I'm not even just saying that either. It really helps. The way that iTunes works is its algorithms see podcasts that are popular, and it sort of promotes them. I'm sure you've gone on there, you've seen the bit that says listeners also listen to, and obviously to help us cover our costs, the more people that are getting onto the show, that are seeing our sponsors, it all helps with keeping this going. So if you take out 30 seconds, go and rate, go and review, it'd be really, really cool. So coming up over the next couple of weeks, we're going to have some more guests on, some different talking points coming up. One thing that I am actively encouraging a lot at the moment is for you guys to send in your talking points and questions. One of our most popular episodes has been the Q&A section. I am absolutely more than happy to do that again. If you guys want to just listen to me talking for an hour, look, if that's what you want, I'm happy to do it, but I don't want to do it if you don't want to hear it. So if you've got questions, send them in. If you've got any talking points, send them in. They can be challenging ones. We have had some sent in that I have kind of had to omit because they've been of a sort of more not attacking, but sort of speaking on individuals, which I am sure you can appreciate. I've got to stay away from that sort of thing. But if it's on a subject, for example, today I spoke about performance martial arts and my feelings on it. Or in the past I've spoke about consultancy, about selling out and the misconception of martial arts schools, that sort of thing. So subject points, absolutely fine. If you've got one you would like me to talk about, or you'd like included, or you would like me to give my thoughts on your opinion on something, submit it, private message. You could get us on kickbackpodcast.com or martialartspodcast.co.uk, or you can also fire them in on the Kickback with Chris Facebook page. I would be very, very thankful for you to send those in, and look forward to getting onto those discussions. So whatever day it is with you guys now, I hope you have a great rest of the day, whether it's Friday, the weekend, whatever. Enjoy the weather, enjoy the World Cup if you're watching the football, and I will speak to you all next week.